What's going on, guys? This is Mr. DeLORIAN here. Welcome to a brand new video. And today what I want to do is break down the new stills we got for The Walking Dead Season 11 Part 1.
Let's start with your name.
Now, before you do get really deep into these images, I did want to say these images do come from Insider.com, which I will make sure to link down below in the description. So you guys go take a look at these images, like, on your own or anything without my voice in the background. Because we will be going through these images pretty fast, since a lot of them kind of don't have much to break down and around them. But with all of that out of the way, let's hop right into these images, because they are really cool images in my opinion. So with the first image here, we do have Daryl in the underground train track area and everything, pointing his flashlight at something and kind of looking, maybe even about to start a conversation with someone. I'm not sure, because we only get to see him pointing his flashlight at someone, but it does look like maybe he's pointing at someone, since it does look like he's looking at, someone. But in the insider description of this image, it does say Daryl's divide with Carol is still present, and the two will need to address it as the season unfolds. So I do wonder if maybe he's looking at, Carol and everything, since there still is a bit of tension between them. So I do wonder if this is maybe Daryl looking at Carol in, the underground train track area, or maybe if this is him just looking at something else, because we do get to see him pointing a flashlight down, a sewer or pipeline or anything in the image that we did get a couple months ago. So maybe this is him maybe this is him going over to that pipeline and anything and looking into it. I'm not sure, but it could also have something to do with Carol and everything, and maybe he's looking at her, because he does look pretty emotionless. So maybe he's talking to Carol, or maybe she's trying to talk to him. But speaking of Carol, in the next image we do get Carol and everything, and what looks to be a pretty dystopian and really destroyed Alexandria, or at least it's the way it looks. Anything by that, I'm assuming that's the church in Alexandria, I think, because it does look like burnt to shit and everything, and it has broken windows. It just looks very crisp and burnt. But we do get Carol and everything. She does look really distraught, or sad or disturbed at something, which I do wonder what it is, because the inside description of this image does say the strain between her and Daryl is on Carol's mind as she continues to operate independently. So I do wonder that this is what the image means, anything, or if it's just insider's description of what they think the image means and everything, because I do feel like their whole beef, or not really beef, but their whole tension from their season 10 fight and everything, or their argument, is gonna really hold into season 11. So I do wonder that this is what this image means. In the previous image meant that this is Carol maybe looking at Daryl as she feels very disconnected from him and everything, and maybe Carol tried talking to Daryl and everything in the underground train track area, but Daryl doesn't really know how to handle it or respond, so he kind of looks at her kind of just maybe strangely. But I will admit, Carol does look really badass and really cool in this image and anything. I don't know, it's just something about her outfit that looks really cool. She has a crossbow, brass knuckle knife, and anything. Just the outfit that she's wearing, it just looks really cool in my opinion. And I will be perfectly honest, this is probably the biggest image in this entire image reel, or still release. But we do get to see Judith and what looks to be current day Gracie, which is pretty much Aaron's adopted daughter from season 8 of The Walking Dead. I think when Rick killed the father, and Aaron took in Gracie to raise and be his own. But we do get to see a grown Judith, which obviously we know Judith is grown and everything. We haven't seen much of Gracie all that much, but we get to see a grown Judith and Gracie and everything. What looks to be looking at maybe something weird, since Gracie looks to be like she's looking at something very focused or weirdly what the hell is that, and Judith just looks very calm and just relaxed. But I've seen a lot of people point towards Judith looking a lot like Carl and everything from season, I think 3 or maybe 4 even, which I do see the resemblance, I think, especially with the hat and just the stance. I think she does look really badass in my opinion. It looks like she's clearly holding her katana outside of or her mini katana or anything, I think from Michonne, but her mini katana outside of it's kind of holster and anything. It looks like Gracie's just holding a wooden sword, which just looks really funny in my opinion, and also kind of worrying, because it's if she doesn't have a actual weapon, maybe she's in weapons training, which is not where you want to be at this point in the Walking Dead storyline. Last season we had an invasion of the Whisperers and everything, and all those walkers, and now we have the Reapers and even the Commonwealth to worry about, and maybe even some Whisperers still out there and everything. So you definitely don't want to be still in weapons training at this point. But I don't know, I guess it was something funny to point out anything to see Gracie holding a wooden sword and everything. But I do wonder, and I've also seen people post images of Rick and Aaron together, and now technically their daughters and everything. Judith and Gracie all stand together, like, you know, saying like, oh, will they work together this season and everything, which I think that'd be a really cool step to take both their characters and everything, since like, you know, Aaron and Rick were so close, to have like, you know, Judith and Gracie be really close and maybe develop that a lot this season, which I think would be really, really cool in my opinion, to see them both like kind of team up and like, you know, develop a relationship and like a friendship between the, like, you know, both of them. And when the insider description of this image feels like really, really weird, like it's not a bad description, but it feels like very, very depressing or kind of like, you know, interesting also. But it reads out, Judith will start to feel the pressure of realizing she may be the only member of the Grimes family left alive, which is definitely a very odd description, but very cool, but depressing also. With the next image is very interesting, because you can see Eugene sitting alone inside the Commonwealth camp and everything, with no one at his table, meaning like, you know, Ezekiel, Princess, and Yumiko are all taken possibly for questioning at this Commonwealth camp and everything by possibly Lance, the, you know, the guy in the suit and everything from the comics. If you don't know who he is, I kind of don't know much either and everything since I started reading on issue like, you know, 93 or 193, but they're possibly in questioning with Lance or like, you know, Mercer or anything, or the Commonwealth soldiers and everything in general. And the inside description of this image does read out, Eugene is feeling guilty for leading his friends Ezekiel, Yumiko, and Princess into possible danger with the mysterious Commonwealth soldiers, which does make sense and everything that he would feel guilty, since he was the one who said like, you know, we have to go and everything to find them, and then now they're captured and he has no clue if they're like could be killed or something and everything. So I do understand why he'd be feeling guilty and everything. He does look very guilty in this image, or very depressed, like he's like, holy shit, what did I do and everything. But he's all alone and everything, with a bunch of like, you know, soup bowls like, you know, on their table and everything, or noodles. I have no clue exactly what the Commonwealth soldiers are feeding them, but he is all alone and everything, meaning the others were probably possibly taken out for questioning. Next we do get to see Yumiko and everything inside what I do believe is like, you know, her like, you know, cage with like, you know, Eugene, Ezekiel, and Princess. And this is clearly either before she gets taken or anything, or maybe even after she gets taken, she gets like, you know, brought back, because this does look like to be the exact time period that Eugene, like, you know, is saying now, when it looks to be like, you know, day or very bright inside like, you know, the camp. So maybe this is before she gets taken, or after she gets taken, she just gets brought back and everything. And maybe Eugene asks, saying, what, like, you know, what did they do to you and everything, and maybe she'll turn around to like, you know, describe it or whatever. But in the inside description of this image does say we're expecting Yumiko to take on a bigger role in the final season, which does make sense, since I think she said she was a lawyer or a judge, and they've been showing a lot of like, you know, courtroom stuff in season 11 material. So I do feel she will take on a bigger role in anything. I do also wonder what is going on in this image, because I do feel she's talking to Eugene specifically. In the next image you get to see you know, Princess sitting across from what I do believe is 110% Lance and everything from the comics, which if you don't know who he is, he's pretty much, I guess, like a little bit under the level of Pamela Milton or anything, the governor, I think, of like, you know, the Commonwealth, but he's pretty low below her and anything in power. But he was also the one interrogating our group inside the comics, so I do feel this is him also interrogating like, you know, the princess and everything. And what's really weird is we do also get to see an orange suit next to like, you know, the interrogation table with like, you know, Lance, or possibly Lance and Princess, and obviously that's Mercer. So I do feel he'll be taking the group members like, you know, one by one, or maybe into groups or anything, to be questioned by Lance, or possibly Lance. We also do get to see like, you know, Ezekiel in the exact same position as Princess and everything, across from possibly Lance and everything, but he looks to be a little bit more chip than like, you know, Princess was. He looks to be like a little bit happy or smiling at something other than what's in front of him, which might be Lance and everything. He looks like he's looking off in the direction of something else. And you also don't get to see like, you know, whether if Mercer's in the exact same position as he was in the previous image. So I do wonder if maybe Mercer moved to like, you know, and that's what Ezekiel's looking at. But in the last and final image, you do get to see Jerry kind of like, you know, just around the gates of Alexandria and everything. And this does look like to maybe be outside the gates of Alexandria, since it does look to be like there's like a lot of trees and just bushes around him. And he's looking at someone or anything, possibly like, you know, handing off a bag or carrying bags around like, you know, Alexandria. Because I'm not sure, I don't think we've seen him down below in the underground train track area and everything with Daryl and that, or like, you know, that rest of the group. So I do wonder if he's staying behind at Alexandria, or maybe we did see him like, you know, down in the underground train track area. Maybe I just forgot. But we see him right here and everything. He has a bow in hand and everything. He has all these bags just around him. And in the inside description of this image, it does say Ezekiel's right hand man, fan favorite Jerry, will likely lead Alexandria or the Alexandria community while the others are out searching for supplies, which has been mentioned in a lot of like, you know, like bios or like, you know, synopsis of the episodes, that our group is like, you know, desperate for supplies and food and everything that they're going to be going out looking for that stuff, which will possibly lead them into the possible, like, military base that we saw. I think Maggie, Carol, Rosita, and Lydia and everything all in that military base, possibly looking for supplies and food along with Kelly and Magna and everything, or possibly searching for Connie. But yeah, I feel like their main goal is being looking for supplies and everything, and that might be also what leads them to possibly the underground trade track area. But those are all the images that were, like, sent out and everything, and the stills we got to see and everything for season 11, which these all were pretty interesting images and everything. Not like, jaw-dropping images or anything, but some were really, really cool in my opinion, especially seeing, like, Judith and Gracie staying next to each other, because like I said, I do 110% want to see more of them, or, like, not more of them necessarily, but I want to see them, like, team up and everything, just like their, like, fathers did in, like, their prior seasons before, like, they were all, like, split up and everything. But I do want to see them, like, kind of team up together and everything. Seeing Eugene and everything, and all of them inside the Commonwealth campus and everything, and possibly being interviewed by maybe Lance, I'm not 100% sure. And what will be going on with Jerry and everything? Will he go with the group or anything? Or will he be staying, like, behind to lead Alexandria while, like, Daryl and all of them are all gone? But yeah, like I said, those are all the stills that we got for season 11, part 1 of The Walking Dead and everything. Make sure to leave your thoughts down below on the images and anything. Do you guys hope to see Judith and Gracie all team up and everything inside season 11 and, like, maybe build a connection, which I personally really do want to see that? And what are your thoughts on all the Commonwealth images and everything, and like, the images inside of, like, the underground train track area, and also, like, Jerry, do you think he'll be leading Alexandria? Because he's not a bad leader, but I do feel like he does better, like, following orders and just being, like, a really good side man, or even, like, but another thing about it, I feel like he can handle himself on his own now I think about it, actually. But yeah, all these images and everything in the insider article and everything will all be linked down below in the description, so you guys can go take all these images by yourselves and everything without me, like, voicing over them and everything, and take a look at them, like, slower. But yeah, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for the latest in the Walking Dead universe and more breakdowns like this for images and more stuff, because they will definitely be releasing tons and tons of content, I think, for season 11, since, like, the days are really counting down till season 11 releases and anything. But yep, see you guys later, some amigos, and peace out.